Hey everybody, thanks for watching. We're going to make some lightsabers today. Kind of like the ones you see here, except with more gradient detail and less of this black and white look. I did this one so that it would work really well as a screen print on a t-shirt. But here we go, making a new project. I think I'll just call this one, well, I'm going to call it this, first, last, saber. I guess that's what I'll call it. Let's see. I think I'll make letter size project. And it doesn't matter exactly what you do for yours, as long as it fits what you draw. So the very first thing that I'll do is make a line. And this will determine the blade for my lightsaber, and it'll also determine the angle for one of the other pieces that I do in it. I'll try to match the angle in the hilt, and I don't know if I'll get it exact, but I'll try really hard. A couple of things I think I'll do with it first is turn up the stroke width. Going to go to my stroke controls and add a cap, a round cap. This is something you could do to any stroke. You'll see that once I did that, it put this little circle at the end of my stroke. And that'll be useful for a couple of things. It's mostly just so this looks about like it does on screen. And comic book artists for a long time have rendered lightsabers very similar to this. So before I do much else, I need to copy and paste my lightsaber. So I have two of them now. I'm going to put them in the very same place. If you go look at my layers, I have two. They're just right on top of each other right now. The one in front, I'm going to make the stroke white. Can't see much right now except the path. The one behind, I'm going to, I think, make the stroke red. There it goes. So I have a white one in front, I have a red one behind. At this point, I'll select the one that's in the back. It's in a lower layer. And I'm going to change the stroke width so it's a little heavier. So this one, that's too heavy, isn't it? Let's go down to 24 points. The one behind is 24 points. The one in front is only 10 points. So this is establishing kind of a core and a piece on the outside that is the glow. So if it's a red lightsaber, it has a white core and a red glow. If it's a blue lightsaber, it still has a white core and a blue glow. That's just kind of how they've done it for a while, because that's basically what it looks like on film. So one thing that you do to the core part, and this is the main reason why I made two separate pieces, is so that I don't do this effect to the core. I'm doing this to only the glow. So I have the glow selected, the red part that's behind. I think that I'm going to outline the stroke and use my pathfinder to unite those. So it's its own new vector shape. It's not a path with a fat stroke on it. Have it selected right now so I can go to Effect and make a Gaussian blur. We've done this already before. I think I'll adjust the blur. Looks about right like that. And so this is just the lightsaber blade, and we're going to work on making a hilt, which is the part that you hold on to that's made out of metal. The hilt is going to start out just as a circle. So I'm going to ellipse, holding down shift to make a circle. It can be bigger than the rest of your project. This is using all of the effects from the lightsaber glow though, so I think I need to go to my appearance controls and remove that appearance. I'll make it a medium gray because it'll work out really well and give it some definition when I make it into a 3D object. So it's going to be a lot of copying and pasting and using the same vector shape over and over again. So I think I'll make an extra one of those just to keep in case I need it. Have this circle selected right now, and I'm going to play around with extrude and bevel. This works best if I have preview on, and I'm going to play around with all of these until I can get this to look like it's going the same direction as the blade. Let's see, I think I want going to try things out. Nope, it's not doing it. I can modify this one directly. I think this is going to be easier for me if I do wireframe right now. Now, if this looks like it's way too big of a hilt for this lightsaber, it's okay because I can always rescale it. Now, here's one of the biggest tricks, is to change your extrude depth so that it looks like a longer cylinder instead of just a really short cylinder. I want to get this to match up a little closer to the angle of that blade so I don't have to change things later on. Still a lot of stuff to work on. I think I'll change the fill to a lighter gray. Oh, and then you can start to see the shading a lot better. This is kind of going the wrong direction, so I think I'll go back. Still have that selected. I'll go back into my extrude and bevel controls. Keep my preview on. And I think I have to turn it around 180 degrees almost. See if that works. Yeah, I want this dark part on the bottom because the lightsaber's kind of tilting away from our point of view. I want to line it up very close to that. Keep in mind, I've only done this a few times, and I'm still experimenting with my technique. That's pretty close. Essentially, I've made a cylinder that looks like it's going the same direction as the blade. And I'll hit OK. Need another one of these, so I'm copying and pasting it. And this one, I'm going to do some different stuff with. I can go back and change the extrude and bevel controls on this, because this I want to do some different things. I'll use the jaggy. So the jaggy bevel. So I'm changing the extrude depth right now, 75. Let's try that. Enter. Hey, that looks pretty good. So this will be part of my lightsaber hilt. And I'll move this one around into the right spot. I might use my arrow keys to fine tune it.
Mr. Bach, the piece you just made is in front of the first piece.
I'll tell you how to fix that, and it's very simple. You can change that easily in your layers. All I have to do is move it to the part that I need it in, and you can see now that it looks like it continues along behind the piece that I have in front. Neat, huh? So this is kind of like 3D engineering that you might do with AutoCAD or a different program like that, except you have to kind of imagine all the pieces in your head as you're putting it together. You could program this to be something to make in a lathe, just like they did in real life. This could be a CNC lightsaber hilt cut out of aluminum, but we're just kind of imagining it, and we are recreating what it would probably look like. So I think I need to change a few more things. This one I think is too long right now. Maybe that's all right. That's kind of my basic hilt so far, but I think I'll still make a few more pieces. Copy, Paste. Go into my effects on this one. My extrude depth, I think I'll make a lot shorter, like maybe 20 for this one. Yeah, that looks good. I'll hit OK. Notice how I'm not changing the angle, but I do think I'll change a little bit. I'll change the initial dimensions of the circle on this one, so it's just a little bit bigger. Should I put this one as the hilt? Maybe make it a little bigger. And this is in front, so this is going to be the pommel of my lightsaber. Hey, that lines up pretty well, huh? This whole piece is the hilt. That's a pommel. I think I'll make one more piece, and I just used my pommel, and I'm going to make this into the emitter, which is not a part of a real sword. So doing just a different bevel effect on this, and maybe change the extrude depth. And I have to put that behind everything. Just using my arrow keys again to line it up. And if it looks good to your eyeballs, it's probably all right. Just think maybe I'll do one more thing to my pommel. I think I'll just give it a little bit different bevel. Maybe a cove. Oh, that looks kind of cool, right? Yeah, I like this lightsaber hilt. I have most of the pieces that I need, except my hilt is way too big compared to my blade. So I'm going to rearrange things and work with my layers a little bit and then resize the hilt to make it just right. Making a separate layer just to put the blade in. Now, I'm selecting everything in layer 1 because I know that's all hilt. Using my free transform tool, I can also just hit E and holding down shift so I don't change the aspect ratio. Just giving myself another problem too. Before I can resize this, I probably need to expand appearance on all of those things. That'll make it lots easier. Don't need that. Okay, I think I can do it now. Free transform. Holding shift. Worked way better, didn't it? And moving this one so it lines up with the rest of the lightsaber. Does that look pretty cool? Make sure that anytime you move around this hilt, that you have all of the hilt selected. I just grouped it, so it should play nice with me. And maybe you have a little bit of glow that glows down behind the hilt. But I think it's pretty good. Just needs a little tweak, and it'll be just right. That lines up pretty well, right? So this is a lightsaber that you could put into a different drawing, or you could just draw a lightsaber like this, and I'll give you some credit for it. Thanks for listening.